Hey, what up everyone, this is Mondo All Day, back with another video, and in this video I'll be showing you my build guide for Iron Fist. I'll be going over which artifacts I use, which uniques I use, and which medallion, as well as go over the power points, where I placed them, the omegas, as well as the hero synergies, and at the very end show you my rotation, kind of give you some tips and pointers how to pass Cosmic Trial with Iron Fist. Do keep in mind I did use roughly around 3,000 omegas. I believe I used just over 3,000 omegas, I'm not too sure exactly. But yeah, again, this is my build guide for Iron Fist, and so let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to look at are the artifacts. The first artifact is Skrull Nick's Fury's Eye Patch. I'm using this for the defense rating, damage rating to bosses, and for the health. Maybe not be the best artifact, but it definitely helps out. It does its job. Next, I use Hyde's formula. I'm using this for the brutal strike rating, brutal damage rating, the health, but mainly for when you use a medkit, you increase your damage rating, defense rating, health regeneration for 30 seconds. So that's very useful for him. Pretty good. For medallion, I'm using Skrull Defender's Medallion. I'm using this for the deflect rating, the +1 strength, the health, and also the damage increase for defense and dodge increase. But more importantly, when you hit with a melee and physical power, which is perfect for him, you get +2 fighting. Then I'm using Advanced Super Soldier Serum for the defense rating, chi recovery. Well, that chi recovery is kind of irrelevant, but for the defense rating, dodge rating, the chi, the health, and deflect rating. So again, maybe not the best artifact, but it does help out a little bit. But if he had an option or he had a different artifact that's more beneficial for him, definitely utilize that. But again, this will definitely do for now. Then I'm using Skrull Communication Device. I'm using this for the defense rating, the +2 speed, critical hit rating with mental attacks. And he does have mental attacks, and I'll go over that in a bit. Health regeneration, but more importantly, when you hit with a mental power, gain +1 energy for 6 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times, so you can do the math. For the uniques, I use all of his uniques except for one. For slot 5, I use Mask of Algrim. I'm using this for the damage rating, damage reduction, and also 2 for the health and so forth. Then critical damage rating, which is quite a amount. For the ring, I'm using the City Ring because it gives you critical hit rating to melee attacks. Attack speed is increased, critical damage rating, and when you hit with melee power, gain 189 damage rating for 10 seconds, and also for the extra health, since he's all melee. And then for costume, grade 1 through 4, critical damage rating as always. And then for core, I have it to where I gain 400 health when you hit any enemy, +1 strength, damage rating to range powers, which he doesn't have any range. But I do have it to where, I gain 1000 defense rating, so that's very useful for him because he is melee. And then for insignia, I'm using Insignia of Daredevil. I'm using this for when you land with Brutal Strike, you and your allies gain Mana without Fear Aurora, which increases your melee damage, Brutal Strike rating with melee powers, and brutal damage rating. And also, too, this insignia gives me brutal damage rating and damage rating increase to melee powers, which is all melee. And for pet, I have it to where I take 2% less damage from bosses, 4 more credits per drop, which is not really useful, but it's okay. 3% base physical damage increase, +2 ranks to melee powers, and then +3 fighting. So this is like a perfect pet for him. And then I'm using 200 damage rating melee powered forged, and then I have it blessed to where I gain +1 strength, 200 damage rating to melee powers, and then 2% attack speed increase. And for legendary, I am using Excalibur for the damage rating to powers, the defense rating, the critical hit rating. But more importantly, you regenerate 200 health when you hit. So keep that in mind. For team up, I am using Magic for the mental. And she's melee too, but this is for the mental. Powers, pretty simple, but let's get into it. None there. Crane Kick. Well, Fighting Focus, which is all of his stance and openers. I used all of them.
This is more
19
than a
to all of them.
meeting at Randcorp.
Fury 5 Forces. I'm using that as my basic, so to speak. Max that out. Signature, of course you want to max that out. Champion of Kunlun, it's a passive, max that out. and then Chi Overload 5 there. If you have more power points, because I have not completed chapter 10, you definitely want to put more on Chi Overload, but again, I have 5 right here, and I have it set to where I get Grandmaster. And again, I'll explain why I chose that when I go over my rotation. Yeah, and that's pretty simple for power points. My Omegos, again, I use over 3,000. I use about 3,400 or so. So there we go. So let's get right into where I placed them. Neural Enhancement, 1 for Tactical Neural Implant for the critical damage rating and melee critical hit rating. Arcane Attunement, 2 to Serathos for the damage rating, brutal check rating, critical hit rating to mental attacks. He does have mental attacks. And again, I'll go over that when I go over my rotation. Earth, 1 there for the base damage. And then 2 for Hala for the critical damage rating, brutal check rating, critical hit rating to physical powers. And then Sakaar for the deflect rating and melee damage rating. Nothing there. Mutation, 3 to Warpath for fighting. Chamber, and when you hit 1 there for when you hit with mental power, you lose 1% of your current health, but you increase 1% mental damage. And 2 to Frenzy for when you hit with a melee power, you gain critical damage rating. Radioactive Origins, I always use this for all my melee characters, but 1 for Harpy, 2 for A-Bomb, and then 1 for Lyra. Nanotechnology, 3 to Spintek for the damage rating to bosses. Human Augmentation, nothing. Psionics, 3 to Meltface for the brutal damage rating. 1 for Telepathic Bolts for 1% chance to deal over 15,000 mental damage and reduce enemy move speed by 20%. And then Focus Strength of Groom for the +7 strength. Molecular Adjustment, 2 to Antigenesis for the +2 energy, mental defense rating, and deflect rating. And that's it. Hero Synergies, 1 for Ant-Man for not so much for the bonus credit per drop, but +1 strength. Blade for health on any hit, and then attack speed increase. Cable for the critical hit rating. Dr. Doom for the signature increase damage. Luke Cage for the defense rating and then physical damage rating. Moon Knight for the critical rating to physical powers. Psylocke for the mental damage and then physical damage. She-Hulk for the physical damage and health regeneration. War Machine for the Chi +1 fighting, and then Wolverine for the brutal strike and brutal damage. Now let's get into the good stuff. Let's go over my rotation. He's fairly simple. This build is, for some people they will say it's pretty boring, and I can kind of see why. But overall, it does its job, and it's pretty strong, but it can be kind of boring. So let's go into it. Okay, so the way I play with him, and again, this is very, very simple, is I always use Fury 5 forces. Okay, as far as my placements of the stance and openers, I just have them how I have it here. Just have it here set up. I have it just here and below. The only thing I did is I believe I switched Tiger's Scratch with Dragon Tail. Everything else is basically I didn't go through this. And so the way I play with him is, again, it's pretty simple. Is I use Fury 5 forces. That's my main attack. Okay, and notice how his chi's going down.
I can't focus my chi.
Okay, see that? Now his move is 5 forces is not active. Is now cannot be used because they have no chi. See what I mean? So how do you do that, or how do you get the chi? Is simple. You use one of his stance or openers. Each time you activate one of these, it regenerates his chi completely, which will allow you to continue using 5 forces. Okay. Now, the reason why for Chi Overload I chose Grandmasters, because when you use the stance opener, gain a stack of Chi Mastery, which stacks up to 5 times. And so what this does is it gains 25% extra damage when you use Fury of Forces. Okay, so for instance, if you read it here, 5 forces, it increases his damage while stance opener is on cooldown. You get increased 25%. And again, the way I play with him is simple. 5 forces, keep using that, and then just keep utilizing these openers. And so the way I kind of have it set up is, not set up, but the way I play is, every time it gets almost to the half of chi, I just activate another one. So it looks something like this. So activate, halfway, boom. Okay, see, and it almost did 1,000,000 damage. And the reason why I mentioned that I'm using some elemental and have plus, I'm using scroll communication device because it gives you +1 energy when you hit it with a mental power, is because his stance openers do mental damage. If you read it clearly here, when you activate these stance, they have a burst, and that burst does mental damage. Hence why I use some of these, which is a scroll communication, and plus I placed some Omega points through Zarathos for the mental attacks to get that brutal strike and brutal damage and so forth, because he's a hybrid. He's a physical damage, it also does mental damage when you use a stance opener. Okay, hopefully I'm just explaining to you how I have it set up. Okay, now my rotation again is fairly simple. Again, activate one of his stance openers, use 5 forces. Once it gets to the half point, use another stance. There you go, and just keep doing damage. Half point, another one. Hence why I use
the last free one you'll take for a while.
Excalibur, because when you hit, you regenerate 200 health. Hence why I also use, for your synergies, I used, who is it? Sorry, I'm trying to look, who was it? Blade. Health on any hit, because the way this build is and the way I play with Iron Fist is I play really close combat, and so I need as much health recovery as much as I can. Hence why I have this legendary and so forth. Okay, so again, that's usually how I play with them. It's just once it gets to the half point of chi, activate another stance opener. Boom. Okay, now to be really effective with him, you want to incorporate Chi Overload. What this does is, when you activate this, you gain critical hit chance by 2%, critical damage rating over 1,000, brutal damage rating 1,800, maximum health increases well too. So what I usually do is I activate Chi Overload. Once I do that, use a stance opener. See? See what I mean? Okay. I guess you could say that's my first rotation. Now, my second rotation, which would include my signature, is this. Is doing the same thing, but this time, activate all of them as fast as I can. All of his stance openers, and then use signature, because when you do that, signature, it resets the cooldown for all of his stance openers. So, again, what I usually do is, and then if you see my Cosmic Trial, that's what I ended up doing, is when I activated Chi Overload, right away I just activated all of his stance openers, and then signature, and then it resetted the cooldown for stance openers. And then continue doing damage with 5 forces, and just do the same the first rotation, which is keep using it, and then once it gets to the half point of Chi, do another stance opener. So again, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to use Chi Overload, activate all of his stance openers, signature, and you're going to notice that all of his stance openers are going to reset.
This battle is over.
Oh no.
I will embarrass you no longer.
And signature. 4 million. And then also it resetted all cooldowns, see? Not only did it do 4 million damage, but it reset all of his cooldowns. And then right now, all I can do is just same thing. First rotation. Half point. Boom. And just keep doing damage. and then another rotation once it gets half point, and that's really it. Okay, that's, again, this is very simple. This is how I play with them. Now, to be really even more effective with utilizing all of his buffs, which is this one right here, I can do the same thing I was doing, but this time use Hyde's formula, which will increase my damage and so forth and brutal damage rating. So all I have to do is activate Medkit and do the same thing, which is signature, 7 million right there, and then boom, do damage. Let's just halfway, boom, and just keep doing damage. Once halfway, the damage. Another stance opener. And that's really it, to be honest with you. That's usually how I play with them. And so again, just to reiterate, what you want to do is the first rotation, again, it's just use 5 forces. Once it's half point of chi, activate a stance opener. Boom. Half point, another stance opener. Okay, that's the first rotation. Second rotation, incorporating this, the signature and this buff, is activate Chi Overload. Once that, activate all of his stance openers, signature, and then just keep doing damage like the first rotation. So it looks something like this. 1 million, and then boom. First rotation. Halfway, do it again. 1. Part type formula, another one, and so forth. Okay, you see that? And again, this is a very simple build. For some people, they might consider it boring because all you do is just literally all I do is my left click on my mouse, have a one specific target, hold it there, and just some people might not like that, and I can kind of see why. 5 million right there. Here we set all my cooldowns like that. See what I mean? And again, some people might think it's boring because all you're just using is one particular power, and then just using the stance openers whenever they're available. And then once they're all being utilized and signature's ready, use signature to reset all the cooldowns of all the stance openers and just continue doing it. And that's really it. It's very, very simple. He's both, again, hybrid. He's both physical damage and mental damage. So when you're doing a build for him, I would definitely want to incorporate some Omega points, not just on not just on physical damage, but also mental damage as well too. And not only that, what you want to incorporate also too is putting some power points on, like these right here. These to give you mental damage, like mental damage, base damage, because again, he is mental as well too. You want to put more here on energy, because again, he is mental, and his mental does a lot. Oops. And that's really it. This is kind of my build guide for Iron Fist. He's not that hard to play with. This is how I was able to pass Cosmic Trial with using 3,400 Omegas or so. I used the same exact build when I first passed Cosmic Trial with using around, I think, 7,500 Omegas, and then you can just imagine how much damage I made by using this. I mean, I believe one of the, when I was kind of showing you guys, I think I made 5 million damage. So you can just imagine if I utilize all my Omegas, how much damage would I be, would be doing. And that's it, guys. Again, this is my build guide for Iron Fist. If you have any questions, please do leave it in the comment section below. Any requests for certain characters. I am in the process of trying to finishing up Vision, but he's being a little fragile. But any requests for certain characters, again, please leave it in the comment section below. If you want to see more videos of mine, or if you want to keep up to date as far as any uploaded new videos, please do subscribe to my channel. It does really help out the channel a lot, and it means a lot to me. And yeah, again, this is my build guide for Iron Fist. Any questions? Leave it in the comment section below. Alrighty, thanks.